Real Canadian Wendigo Stories. Wendigo Island. In 1869, a logging crew came to winter on an isolated island in Grand Lac Manitou, Wendigo Island. Native Canadian hunters refused to trap on the island, even though it harbored plenty of game, but they would leave fine animal pelts and tobacco as offerings to the Wendigo spirit. Wendigo, the cannibalistic walker of the snows. It would have been a good place to winter, but for the foreman, Big Jim Bonneau. Bonneau was a brawny, balding, foul-mouthed and bad-tempered bully who wore a silver whistle on a chain around his thick neck, the better to torment others. Rumor had it that Big Jim had bought the whistle and chain down in old Quebec from old Nick himself, Satan. Bonneau would blow the whistle to summon the men to work or to announce lights out in the bunkhouse. He would also blast it when he wanted to express his anger at a logger he didn't reckon was working as hard as he should. Big Jim was so mean, he even hated music. At night, when the men would sing old songs to the accompaniment of concertina and fiddle, this damnable man would blow his whistle and holler, "Lights out, you goddamn sons of bitches!" And Big Jim blew his cussed whistle whenever he wanted Orphan Johnny. Orphan Johnny was a 12-year-old native Canadian boy who had lost both parents and who had attached himself to the camp as a shanty boy. Bonneau treated Johnny like a slave and would summon him at all hours of the day and night to wait on him. "Fetch this, you. Bring that. Hurry up, you worthless dog. Hurry up or I throw you out to starve." And if Johnny wasn't quick enough, he would suffer Bonneau's massive fists. His philosophy was to hit first and swear after. Not that he wasted any grub on the boy. "What? Feed him? Feed that worthless dog? Let him earn his grub by doing something right first. Right for a change. Stupid idiot." Indeed, if the cook and the men hadn't shared their rations with Johnny, he probably would have died from exhaustion and malnutrition. One day, a logger named Murphy saw Johnny burying something in a snowdrift along the edge of the shore. He waited until the boy had gone and then went to investigate. It was a rabbit Johnny had snared in one of his traps. "Johnny is honoring his native gods," Murphy said to himself. "It must be an offering to the Wendigo spirit." Murphy reburied the rabbit. Who was he to interfere with the Wendigo? As the winter progressed, the temperature dropped and the drifting snow piled higher and higher. On a particularly frigid day, Bonneau and Murphy went to scout for fresh timber and returned to the camp just as the howling winds announced a coming blizzard. Bonneau had been warming his hands in front of the pot-bellied stove when he suddenly began to stamp his feet and holler in a voice edged with hysteria, "My whistle! Son of a bitch! She is gone! And my chain too! Son of a bitch! Gone!" Some of the loggers may have been tempted to laugh, but the fear of Bonneau's massive fists kept their mouths shut and their faces blank. Big Jim seized Orphan Johnny with his huge hands and began shaking him. You's worthless son of a bitch! You's go out and fetch them back, or don't bother to show your ugly face in here no more." When Murphy and some of the other loggers protested, they were told, "You's think I feed this stupid son of a bitch for nothing, eh? Either he brings me back my whistle, or he can go to the devil." And with that, Big Jim pushed the boy out into the now howling storm. It was a miserable evening. No one spoke. What were his chances of survival? The men lay on their bunks, listening to the sound of the encroaching storm. But after a while, they became aware of a change. To the shrieking of the wind and the patter of the snow, there came a series of loud taps, as if someone or something walked around the building, knocking or pounding on the log walls. Murphy, worried it was Orphan Johnny, went to look out the frost-encrusted window and found himself staring into the face of an adult native Canadian man. But was it a man? The features seemed coarse and misshapen, the eyes two pools of blackness, which, to quote Edgar Allan Poe, gave off an unceasing radiation of gloom. Murphy glimpsed it but a moment, then it vanished into the swirling snow. And then the voice was heard. "Let me in. I'm so cold. Let me in. So cold, so cold." The voice sounded like Orphan Johnny's. Big Jim yelled, "Where's my whistle, hey? You bring it back?" The voice was heard again. "Let me in. I'm so cold. Let me in. So cold, so cold." "Bring back my whistle or freeze in hell," Big Jim bellowed. "Let me in. I'm so cold. Let me in. So cold, so cold." No one moved. No one said anything. The voice sounded like Johnny's, but it was somehow unnatural, and kept repeating the same words over and over, until it eventually stopped. The fire in the pot-bellied stove died out, and the bunkhouse was plunged into frigid cold. "Hey, yous, Murphy, go out to the woodpile and bring in some wood, hey?" "Not I," said Murphy. "It's death to go outside this night." Big Jim tried Giroux and some of the others, but they all refused. They were more afraid of what lay outside than they were of Big Jim's violence and fists. The foreman scowled but said nothing more, burying himself underneath the blankets in a vain attempt to keep warm. The men lay silent, listening to the sounds of the storm. And then there was a knock at the door. Nobody moved. No sound but that of the storm swirling around the shanty. No words. But suddenly, the shrill blast of a whistle. A whistle. It blew again. And again. With an oath and a roar, Big Jim leaped from his bunk and stamped and staggered towards the door, moving forward like he couldn't stop himself from moving. Someone yelled, "Don't open that door." Big Jim cried, his face white with fear, I can't. He's got me. It's got me." The door flew open before Big Jim could even reach it, and he instantly vanished in a fog of swirling ice and snow, and then was gone. Gone. But fading into the distance, the lumberjacks could hear the mingled sounds of Big Jim's shrieks and the blasts of his damn silver whistle. After a few minutes, Murphy got up and shut the door. The storm slowly died away. In the morning, after the sun had risen, the men went outside to look for Big Jim and Orphan Johnny. They found prints left by snowshoes in the snow, each about the size of two sleighs parked end to end, about 25 feet. They weren't Big Jim's prints. Of him, there was no sign at all. Orphan Johnny was cold, but alive and unharmed, having buried himself like a husky under the snow. But Big Jim and his silver whistle were never seen or heard from again.